So I have a little piece of lindenwood here that is 1.4 centimeters thick. It's about 10 centimeters at the bottom, about 8.5 at the top, and the length is around 18.6 centimeters. I'll put all the measurements on the screen for those of you who are imperial people. If you're wondering, like, lindenwood, where the hell do I get lindenwood? It's basically the same as basswood. So if you can get basswood, you've basically got lindenwood. They're the same kind of a genus of tree or something, but one's European, one's North American. Some people say they're exactly the same. Some people say they're slightly different. I don't know. I've only used lindenwood. So anyway, I'll show you the design we're going to do. Also, I've had this little moth guy in the shed for a couple of days now. I think he's missing some legs and he's very lethargic and doesn't move very well, so I think we're going to move him away from here and put him somewhere else. Well, that's one way to do it. I'll take him outside. So we're going to carve this plant motif design that I made, inspired by the Bewcastle Cross, which is an old monument from the early to mid-medieval period in the UK here, which was made probably around 700 or 800 AD, so they say. Now, to put the design on, I'm going to use this graphite paper. I used to use carbon paper thinking it was the same thing, but carbon paper leaves marks on the wood which are really hard to erase, whereas graphite paper is just like using a pencil. Fortunately, the downside of using that paper is that it can make your hands go a little bit graphite-y. Just going to start with a V-chisel and outline all of the big shapes. None of the little tricky ones. We'll do those probably with gouges. Now, to carve all these little circles, which I guess are like little fruits, really is kind of what they represent. We've got a couple of different gouges with different sweeps on them, so a different kind of angle of circle, and then a really tiny little gouge just to do these kind of little bits where the branches meet the fruit. Now, I haven't done this a lot on the relief carvings recently, but I want to clear out this background. I want to make it a bit shallower to go down a bit further so this motif sticks up, because that's how it kind of looks on the Bewcastle stone. So I've got this really nice, I don't know if it's a chisel or a knife, I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's for Japanese woodblock printing. That's what it's meant to be for, and it's meant to clear out the background of a Japanese woodblock, and I've been using this thing for about a month now and I absolutely love it. It's great, but if you haven't got something like this and you still want to clear out the background, you could use a chisel like this. It basically just has like it's kind of flat but it has a curved end, or just like a really shallow gouge could do it as well. So I've actually ended up using these two quite a lot. This chisel with the curved end, and then this little one that I kind of butchered and made this handy little point on quite a while ago. So this little one here is really good for getting into these corners. I'm just going to show you how I do that. So it doesn't have to be done with a tiny chisel like this. You can use a normal flat chisel if you have one, which most people would have if they're getting into carving. You just poke that in there like that, and then usually what I do is I turn it upside down so that the bevel is facing the wood, because if I have it this way up with the bevel facing upwards, then I try and dig into here. Sometimes I'll dig down too low, so I'll have the bevel facing up, especially because I've got this clip up the top, I can't move around too much. So we'll just do this and come in there like that. And just keep repeating the process basically. I also find it really useful just to keep the V-chisel on hand, because we can go up these edges right and clean them up, try to straighten them up a bit, try and get all those little bits out of there that are awkward. And then of course we can also come back and, you know, trim down some of this stuff that we don't particularly like, or that we want to be deeper or something like that. And whilst it's not necessary to have all these chisels to make a carving like this, it does help a lot to have the variation, you know. But it's definitely not necessary. I've got a few things on my channel that you can do with very simple tools, and the fact that you don't even need carving chisels for, some of them just bench chisels. So I'm going to mostly use the bendy boy chisel, what I call the bendy boy because of this bend, but it's basically just a flat chisel. You could use any flat chisel really, but I find this nice for manoeuvring. And while we're talking about bendy boy chisel, I just want to thank Don Moore, who is my latest patron, who joined at the Bendy Boy Society tier on Patreon. So thanks a lot, Don, and thanks a lot to everyone else who continues to support the channel on YouTube and Patreon. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. So I've been using the Bendy Boy to chamfer down this tree trunk and the branches, but I'm also using it to make these little fruits or apples or whatever they are. So I'm just using it to kind of round over these bottom edges. I'm also going to use the Bendy Boy to score down the lines of this central vein in here, and then I'm going to use this other curvy one again to kind of take out the material around it to make it look like the leaf is kind of bending inwards. And here is the finished carving. Remember, the template is available if you're a member of the Bendy Boy Society on Patreon. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll catch you again next time.